So a bit of a dual purpose video today. I'm actually driving towards an area where there's a lot of different species of deer and hopefully going to get some really nice footage of some of the deer in rut. So fingers crossed we'll be able to reconvene very soon, and I hope you guys enjoy the episode. I'm wearing the Baerskin version 4 hoodie, which is the latest and newest addition into the Baerskin range. This is the fleece that then actually zips into a waterproof jacket, so it's a really fantastic combination, and it's going to keep me nice and dry because the weather has just come in wet and rainy, which is perfect for testing out some waterproofs. This is quite new and rigid. It really fits nicely. Obviously a nice black colour, so it goes with anything. You can wear this casually or when you're out in the sticks. So yeah, let's go look at some deer. Just walking through the edge of this estate at the moment, which is going to lead me down toward a big open expanse, and hopefully we'll be able to see some, if not all, of the deer species here in the UK. And in fact we're at the beginning of the rut now for the red deer, so hopefully we'll get to see a good display. And if the weather comes in, I'll keep you posted with how this jacket's performing, but right now I'm really toasty. I'm not too warm, there's no breeze coming through, and it's not too windy, but I've always been impressed with Baerskin's quality, and this one doesn't let down. It's got a few less pockets than the version 3, so the poacher's pocket at the back isn't there anymore, which I liked that pocket, but I can understand why they did remove it, because it's not the most practical pocket in all circumstances, and especially when you've got a waterproof jacket on the back, you wouldn't be able to access that anyway. But for me and for tinder collection it was ideal, so definitely want to see if this outer jacket actually zips onto the version 3. That might be a good test. That is the cattail or reed mace. A lot of people call it the bulrush, but it's in fact the greater reed mace, and it has a very tall stem coming from the bottom. As you can see there, it grows a nice thick carpet along the edge of these lakes or riverbeds. Now if you followed that all the way down to the bottom, this central stem turns at a right angle under the ground or under the water and grows rhizomes horizontally. Those are edible, as are the base of these stems, and these stems when dried are good for friction fire. The top is very good tinder when dried, although it does go up very quickly, so it's useful to aid as a spark accelerant or something just to help get going, but not a full reliance for tinder. The fibres can also be woven to make reed mats, and overall it's a very versatile plant, and the rhizomes are full of starch. So I will definitely do a video on greater reed mace or the cattail, so maybe that will be the next one. It's an amazing survival food. It's one of those plants where if you're really in trouble, that's one that you would definitely look out for. Once you found it, you could know that you could get fire, you can get some shelter, and you can also get food. What a lovely spot. We're almost to the park now where the deer are going to be located, so I'm going to quiet on down, see if we can find any that have escaped, because there's always the occasional few that make it over the fence, and you never know what species you are going to find. You can see there the downy heads of the cattail, as they have now gone to seed and started to shed. They become much more fibrous and a perfect tinder source. The red deer, Cervus Elaphus, is an indigenous species of deer that can live up to 18 years in the wild and a few years longer in captivity. The key ID factors are size, being the largest wild deer species in the UK and weighing upwards of 250 kilograms. In deer stalking terms, the coat is referred to as pelage. In summer, usually a red pale underside and grey neck area is observed, and progressing into winter this develops into a more grey and light brown dominant coat, both displaying darker dorsal stripes. They show no black tail or white markings on the rump or rear, but rather a yellow hue that extends over the tail. The brow point, which is the frontmost antler tine, grows close to the coronet at a 90-degree angle and curves upwards near the tip. The preorbital gland under the eye helps detect scents and is an important part of communication between offspring and mother. They're usually found in single-sex herds, and the female is known as a hind and never has antlers. Usually they weigh about half of that of the male and reach full maturity after 4 years. The male, known as a stag, has antlers and a distinctive beard or mane and reaches full maturity usually at the age of 6. The rut, which starts in September and lasts around until early November, is a result of high testosterone levels in stags, causing tension between the herd, which causes a breakout when they leave the same sex groups and search for a harem of hinds. Stags don't eat during this period and survive off of stored fats, hence their deteriorating condition often being observed over the length of the rut period. The distinctive roar can mark this, and it's similar to that of a cow, but more grunt-like, often reciprocated by shorter grunts, barks or bleats from the hind, the latter being more for offspring communication. The males often also create a wallow site in muddy and wet dips in the ground by scraping with their feet, thrashing with their antlers, and urinating, eventually forming quite large areas. These can become very contested areas, and it is thought that the mud helps spread the stag's scent across his body, and the darker colour makes him more intimidating to his rivals. This can be observed after the rut, but is a more common practice during the rut. During the rut, many behaviours can be observed, often giving deceiving impressions. If two males' roars are evenly matched and neither retreats, the animals often parallel walk to assess the size and condition of their opponent before engaging, and if neither backs down, they'll lock antlers and engage in a rut to settle the dispute.
What an absolute honour to see these two rut.
The sheer power displayed in these encounters is a remarkable sight and highlights the strength and determination of this species and acts as a reminder why it has prospered for so many years on this island. Unfortunately though, the longevity of this native landrace is at risk, with the non-native sika deer being able to interbreed with the red, which could eventually lead to a hybridization of all red and sika deer and potentially the loss of the native and historic red deer.
There is the victor. Well, the herd is really out in full force. Look at that. Just hundreds and hundreds of deer. Pere David's. Not a native deer, but definitely a beautiful specimen to see. I can hear the red deer over in the right of me, over to the right of me, sorry. So that's where we'll be heading. White fallow that just down there, which is quite nice to see. There's a fallow buck. You can see just about see the palmated antlers as well, which means they look like your hand. They kind of spread out, palmated. So you can see him wallowing there, guys. You can probably just about make out him urinating over himself. So he's urinating over himself, walking backwards and rubbing his antlers in the scent so that he smells more aggressive and releasing all those pheromones. So when he goes into battle, he puts on a fierce display. There's a John Pere David's. Looks kind of like a cow, a goat, a horse crossed with a deer. They're non-native, but a really nice specimen to see, and one you don't commonly see here in the UK, but still nice to learn about regardless. So you can see they've got a really nice sandy buff coat, which is shedding now. That's their summer coats. They'll be going into the winter colours. And they have a black stripe running down between their shoulder blades, which is quite distinctive. There is a buck or male over here. You can see he's got very straight antlers, quite curved but straight, no forking, so he's quite young. And they're coming out of really predominant kind of pedicles, very much like a muntjac. You see a really long tail with a black kind of tip, it's quite scraggly. But yeah, you can definitely see he's going into his winter coat and he's thickening up. There's a bigger male just walked behind him and he looks like he's in a darker coat already. You can see their formation of antlers very much more tree-like. And they don't have those front tines which are common to a sika or red deer.
It's so lovely to see the rut in full action, and actually some of the deer there just having a good old bit of a ruck together. But yeah, those are the red deer, Cervus Elaphus, and they are our native deer here over here in the UK. These are actually royal stags because they're from a park setting. But I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing some of this. It hasn't rained, so I can't give you too much of a review on the Baerskin apart from it's really, really warm and cosy.